evening, friends. It's an honor for me to be a part of this TEDx show with IIIT Lucknow, and I'm thankful to the organizing committee and team. So, before I start, I want all of you to just think about someone with whom you don't want to talk or you don't want to listen to, and just think over the reason also why is the person why the person is so annoying that you are not willing to talk to him. Is it something that he wants to talk only about himself and he's not ready to listen, or is it something that he is so self-centric and he's concerned only about his viewpoints and not concerned about what the other person is thinking or whether the person is listening or not? Or is it something that the person has verbal diarrhea wherein he talks and he talks, whether the communication is making a sense or not? So, dear friends, it is all about communication. How impactful and effective you can be in communication depends upon how you are conversing your talks and how you are putting up the words in or aligning the words with your gestures, postures, and body language also. Today, I'm here to share, some signs of my understanding, my wisdom about the wonders of effective and precise communication that can help any one of us to achieve what we desire to. And see, for me, I started as an executive, business development executive, and rose to a level wherein I have been awarded by Governor of Maharashtra and former Governor of Puducherry, Dr. Kiran Bedi ma'am, too. And this all was possible only because I believed into the effectiveness or the importance of communication. Communication that starts from the time we have incepted our life into. A fetus is considered to be dead if it does not communicate through the heartbeats. Same way, a newborn child, if he doesn't communicate through his cries, he is considered to be dead. So that is the essence of communication. And just imagine that we start communicating since the time life has come to our body or of our soul, but still we struggle to communicate in a better or impactful or effective way. There are so many reasons that come as an hindrance to be an effective communicator, and a few of them could be the environment wherein we have brought up, or the kind of culture, the kind of traditions, the kind of customs, the thoughts, the beliefs that we have. That is one of the foremost hindrances in becoming a good communicator. And when we talk about communication, it should be, very clear. When I say clear, it should be in simple words. You need not to put so many jargons or so many slang languages, or to make it more, effective or looking so fancy. Need not to use, some extra required words. And it should be very simple, crisp, and clear in simple words, wherein the receiver is able to understand the way you are trying to communicate to. And an effective communication can be, it can be considered effective only if the receiver is receiving in a way the sender or the communicator is intended to deliver to. And the communication should be very concise. When I say concise, meaning it should be brief and complete, and there should be less number of repetition to it. And it should be concrete also. When I say concrete, meaning it should be specific and meaningful, and use positive words. And here a question comes: positive words. So why positive words? Because our brain is designed in a certain way and it understands only yes. Our brain never listen to no words or the negative words. And if I just run through a very small activity, in a very short span, if I say, guys, please don't think about the monkey that is, sitting on the branch. Don't look at the tail of the monkey that is wedging. Don't look at the apple that monkey is eating. Just imagine, are you able to not think about the monkey? Did you not see the tail of that monkey? Or did you not, incepted the idea of monkey having that apple? Yes, we all saw whatever I asked not to see, right? So with this small, you can just assume that our brain is designed to listen to only positive words, and that's the reason our communication should have positive words into it, as we do not listen to no words or no or negative words. The communication should also be correct. When I say correct, it has to have right selection of words. And see, after this pandemic or during the pandemic, we all shifted, the entire communication got shifted to virtual mode. Earlier days, like it was like if you are not having pen and paper when it is coming to written communication, if your pen is not having appropriate ink, or if it is not having appropriate color of ink, you may not be able to write it properly. Same thing applies here in virtual communication. If you are not having appropriate connection of network, if you are not having appropriate gadgets, then you may not be able to create that impact in your communication. So using right words, using right gadgets, using right kind of network when it comes to virtual communication is very, very important. And your communication should be coherent, meaning it should have the legality. We are not supposed to give any communication which is illegal in its own ways and which is not approved by the laws of the country. We should have consistency in our communication, because if the communication is wandering here and there, then it may not create that impact. And when I say consistency, meaning it should have some kind of structure, it should have some kind of flow. Like we cannot go from head to toe directly, because there are so many other parts of body also, starting from head to neck, then we have torso, then legs, like that. So there has to be proper structure even to our communication, and that makes the consistency in it. And when I say we need to have impactful or effective communication, it should have completeness in itself. And how this completeness can be achieved? It can be achieved by addressing 5 W's and 1 H of it. What are those 5 W's? Starting from what I plan to or what I intend to communicate. If I'm not aware of what I'm planning to communicate, it will be very, very difficult for me to create that impact in my audience. Because if I'm not confident, looking at my in-confidence behavior, my audience will not relate to my communication or to my conversation that I'm planning to. When it is about the time, if I'm not aware of when I have to communicate, then it would be very, again, difficult, because it may not make that sense where like what is the platform. It is very important to understand the audience, because if I'm not creating that relativity among the audience or the receiver in my communication, that it would be very difficult for me to have that impact which I'm intending to make or create as a communicator. How is the medium of communication, how I'm going to create that communication impactful, what medium I'm going to use, whether it would be verbal, non-verbal, it would be written, oral, virtual, or through text. So this is what we need to understand, and that depends upon what is the urgency of that communication, what is the timeline, what is the deadline of the communication. And one very important aspect, as a in charge of Maharashtra for hashtag Women Power, a global movement, I realized that being empathetic is very important while you are communicating with anyone. Uh, we, as people, normally we feel that I'm empathetic if I'm able to understand somebody's viewpoint. And what happens normally, we try interrupting the person by saying, yes, I do understand. This happened to me also. It was, yes, once upon a time, it was the situation with me. But, my dear friends, when I say empathetic, meaning we need to be more at the receiving end, we need to be more good in listening terms so that the person who is trying to convey some message to us is making impactful or proper communication, because communication is not one way. It's a two-way process wherein one is receiver, one is sender. So it completes only when both the ends are at the same pace, both the parties are understanding the same message, the same content. And coming to other than the content part, one most important aspect of communication is body language. One of the scientists, Mehrabian's, his study says that only 7% of the communication is verbal, meaning where words are there or it is comprising of words or the content. So here I'm not talking about the correctness or the grammar part or the completeness of it, but here I'm talking about the rest 93% of the communication that is comprised of non-verbal communication, which includes the elements of your gestures, your postures, your tonality of word, your pitch, your volume, and your connect with the audience and how you are saying. See, though you are, a very new generation, but you might have heard about one movie, Sholay. A very simple sentence was said there. कितने आदमी थे? We still remember that. दो. अगर मैं पूछूंगी आप लोगों से, so you always say दो आदमी थे. So can you say, is this sentence a very something weighted or very impactful? No. But the way it was said, the context it was said into, the place where it was said, it all makes the difference. And that is the part of non-verbal communication. So here the verbal part is only कितने आदमी थे? कितने आदमी थे? And how it has been said, kind of gestures that Kalia was having, and where it was said, this situation that was created. So this is what we need to understand to make our communication very strong and impactful and effective also. And at the same time, we always think about this, yes, my communication should be smart. We always want to have smart people around. We always want to have smart things, smart watches, smart clothes, and all these smart gadgets. Yet, my dear friends, when it comes to communication, if I say smart, meaning we need to be very, very specific about what I'm saying, and our communication or our word should be measurable, meaning what kind of impact, what kind of effect it is creating in the mind of audience. And when I say A stands for achieving, achievement meaning it should be something, I should not say something which is not achievable or which is not can be measured in terms of some objectives. So my communication should be objective oriented, and R is relativity. If I'm not relating my communication with my audience, with my receivers, then it will be very difficult for me to create that smart communication with the audience. And the T here stands for the timeline. Very, very important point. All the community, see, even in this platform, if you see, we have been given some timeline. We cannot go beyond certain minutes or certain amount of duration. So this is what our communication has to be a time bound or time oriented, so that it can create the desired impact and effect on the audience. So students, I'll just conclude on the by saying that every problem starts with a bad communication. Why bad communication? Because one of the parties is not listening properly. So we need to be an appropriate listener, also to be a good communicator, which we miss out most of the times. So I'll just leave you on a note that please be to be an effective communicator, you need to be a good listener as well. Thank you. Thank you so much.